Thank you.
Obviously, this is not as comfortable as out there, but
Yeah, this room's a little weird.
at least you get to bring coffee.
Yeah.
Are you okay? You look a little bit shook this morning. Is it too early?
No. I think like the longer time goes on, the more I'm just kind of like the real grief is setting in.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
over
just-
it?
I don't know. I've been having like a lot of PTSD symptoms that
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna talk to like the psychiatrist because I'll have a memory or something of like a
Mhm.
scream in the ER or like a walking in that day, and it's just like I'll be gone for like minutes at a time, and it's just like I'm like forgetting a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just really hard. I think at the beginning my body was kind of like shielding me, like not really letting it soak in and kind of just,
Yeah, I'm sorry to go
I
through
don't
that.
know.
I like it's not real, but now it's.
Now it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to set in.
You had some questions for me Saturday. I can't remember all of them. I remember. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You tell me what questions you have. I know one of them was the insurance question, and I know there was a couple others, but I want to answer those for you. So, shoot.
I think the biggest thing was just the stuff that I had going on, and
Mhm.
wondering if that could have had any genetic disposition towards what happened to her.
So,
Or the RSV. The RSV is my biggest question, but
before we get into that, I definitely have some answers on those, and you know, I got to go through the rights advisement first before I ask any questions. So I did meet with the pathologist and consulted with the second pathologist, so that's good.
okay.
The insurance question, I know you had a question about why her death gratuity had not been paid out yet. I have not been able to get a hold of Chief Taylor
Okay.
to ask her that, but I can tell you that it's not by anything that CGIS has done, so we have not, I was unaware that it was even not paid out yet, so that was the first news to me. Are you guys doing okay with money?
We're fine. I
Okay.
mean, we're buying a house right now,
Yeah.
so we were gonna use some of it to pay off some debt and
Okay.
just get it reestablished and
Okay.
donate some to the city.
I just want to make sure you guys.
We just had
are-
like plans for
Yeah.
everything, so it's the last thing I really care about, but
Just
I
want to
figured
make
I would
sure
ask.
you're not in a bad place or anything, or if I need to get on somebody, or
no,
you let me know.
we're okay. We already have the house stuff, like all the crazy thing going through.
You want to do this real quick? Same thing we've done
Yeah.
before. Just says that you, Kathleen, 6/19/2020, time is 8:03. Special Agent 2 name appears in box 4A. Signature, but. Print and sign. You laughing at my bubbly writing? You whose name appears in box 4A told me that he or she is with the Coast Guard Investigative Service and wanted to question me about the following offenses of which I am suspected or accused, and that's the unexplained death of Scarlett Flores. UCMJ Articles 107, 119B, and 118. Before he or she asked me any questions about the offenses, he or she made it clear to me that I have the following rights. And that's one, that you do not have to answer any questions or say anything. Anything you say or do can be used as evidence against you in a criminal trial. That you have the right to talk privately to a lawyer before, during, and after questioning, and to have a lawyer present with you during questioning. This lawyer can be a civilian lawyer that you arrange at no expense to the government, or it can be a military lawyer detailed to yourself at no expense to yourself, or you can have both. And if you are not willing to discuss the allegations under investigation with or without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time or speak privately with a lawyer before answering further, even if you sign the waiver below. with that being said, obviously you know this is a voluntary interview. You don't have to be here at all. You can leave anytime you want. The door is open, it is not locked. You need to use the bathroom, you need a break, you need anything like that, you tell us and we'll facilitate that for you. And then section B says that you understand your rights as stated above. If you're now willing to discuss the offenses under investigation, make a statement without talking to a lawyer first and without having a lawyer present with me, you will sign in box 3. If you have any questions with that or concerns?
No, this just freaks me out.
I
Which has
know.
freaked me out the whole
I
time.
know. Do you understand all this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so questions.
So, the RSV stuff, I was looking at different articles written by physicians that looked like they were published, and they were, I mean, I don't know the statistics, but some of the articles were saying possible link between RSV, sleep apnea, and leading to fatality, hypoxia, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what the pathologist said about that.
So that's a good question. And so today, I know we're gonna probably open up some wounds today. Because I'm not sure that you're gonna like what the pathologist has to say. But I'm gonna preface that with, through this whole process, I believed you, right? And I do. But there's some stuff that is just not adding up, and there's no way around it. It's scientific. We've got to have an explanation to it, and I think there is one, Kate. I really think there is one, and I don't think it's a bad one. But I think that so far, all the talking that we've done, I just don't think we have the whole story, and the pathologist knows that we don't have the whole story. So we gotta get to it, and here's why. There's no doubt what happened to Scarlett. We know what happened to Scarlett now. It's the why, okay? That's what we have to get to, because I don't think you are a bad person at all, not at all. But the way some of this looks, unless you explain it and tell us, it looks really bad. There's no nice or easy way to put that. So the marks that are on Scarlett, well, I'll start out this. Scarlett didn't die from RSV. She didn't die from apnea. She was smothered.
Smothered?
She was smothered.
What does that mean?
That means that she didn't die from natural causes, that it was mechanical, that it was assisted, so to speak. Whether that was accidental or intentional, I don't know, but Scarlett was smothered.
Does that mean, how I was saying, did I swallow her too tight, or did I do that?
It could be.
But the swaddle, you guys always swaddled her from, like, the way you and Gus described it was like shoulders down, right?
Yeah, I would always
So-
fold it, like I would put her down, and I would put the side over, usually under her arm and over it, and then I'd fold it down and wrap it around her.
So it wouldn't go like over the shoulders, right? It would be.
I
at
mean,
the
it might have been
shoulders or
like
below.
here, but it wasn't, I didn't think it was covering her face.
Well, and that's what we gotta get to today, Kate, because some of the stuff that we've found in the investigation, it really doesn't look good. But I know that you didn't do this intentionally.
I would never.
I don't think you would, but I don't want anyone to look at this that's outside. I've talked to you probably over 16 hours now. So we've sat and we've talked together. I'm a very good judge of character. I told you that well back, and so is Amber. And if I thought it was intentional, it would be different. But the fact of the matter remains is, yes, she was smothered, and we have to find out whether it was an accident or if it wasn't an accident. So those injuries on her head, so I'll tell you what both of the pathologists told us that was. So there are the marks on her neck and the marks on the back of her head, right? And I have those pictures. Whether you want to look at those or not is up to you, but those injuries are there. And they're consistent with a hand on the back of her neck and back of her head. So that's
And this
something.
second pathologist is like a specialist. He specializes in infant death. So he's like, because we were so uncertain, you know, from the original autopsy, then we were like, we have to figure this out because we knew you were concerned and we didn't want you, like how you came in here looking like, you know, you're just almost defeated, and we wanted to get answers for you. So there's a specialist at the FBI that's all he does. It's like, that's his thing. If a baby dies, he's gonna be able to tell you why or how. So that's the specialist that came up with all this stuff that we're gonna talk about today. So I think we just have to go back through, kind of backtrack, and there's some things we need to talk about kind of things that happened that day, throughout the day. Because there's a little bit of inconsistency and it may be easily explained, and we just want to iron that out today so that we have a definite, okay, this is definitely what happened and how it went.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I really thought that it was something that was more like a respiratory thing or something.
Yeah. And I was
And I was
hoping.
so scared with the swaddle. I was so scared because when I went to go find her and I saw her and I unraveled her, I was like I immediately thought, like, did I just do that? Did I like smother her essentially with the swaddle? Because I was like, it just terrified me, and I didn't know anything about SIDS. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we looked at every avenue that it could have been because I was really afraid that this day would come, and it's going to be hard, but at least you have two people in here that you know aren't going to judge you. But the most important thing here is that I don't think any less of you, that this doesn't make you a bad person. It's just, if it was an accident, Kate, then it was an accident and it can be explained, and you're not going to get in trouble for that.
Just even the fact that could have happened. It's just, I would never ever hurt my child.
I know.
If that was because of me, it's just gonna kill me.
Well, let me ask you this. So back, I think a couple weeks ago when we talked, you had mentioned about looking up the feelings of hurting your baby. And I asked you, I was like, Kate, were you having those feelings? And you were like, nope. You know. And here's the thing with that is, I understand about postpartum depression. I understand that you're looking things up because you want to know and you want to educate yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to the person outside of this investigation, outside of the box, they're going to look at that and they're going to see Kate was looking up having feelings of hurting her child, and her child got hurt. And she said she wasn't having those feelings, but she was looking it up. Do you see how that looks? That doesn't bode well for Kate. And I understand it, but the layman that doesn't know Kate isn't going to understand it. So I know there's some things that probably happened that day that you haven't told us, And I think that's because you're scared of the way it's gonna appear. But at this point, you gotta tell me, Kate, because that's the only way that we can show the people that look at this that this wasn't intentional. No matter how bad you think it's gonna look for you, there's some gaps and some voids that have got to be filled in by you because you were the only one there. And if you don't fill those gaps in, someone else is gonna fill them in. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So, I
I was
know.
so afraid of the swaddle. That's what I was scared of the first day when it happened, was like, I didn't think much of it when I put her down, and then when I found her and I was like, did I swaddle her wrong? Did I like do it too tight? That
Well,
was my instant.
walk us through it again.
Okay. So, do you want me to start in the morning or just? So in the morning, we woke up, we went to Dan and McKenna's, we put her in the coveralls and the little round home. I think I fed her in the morning, that's not too clear to me, but
Okay.
I think I did. We went to Dan and McKenna's, and that whole day, well, I think Dan and Gus left, and McKenna and I were there for a while watching TV. I know exactly where we were sitting, I know where the diaper bag was, I can remember all those little details, but we were just sitting there watching TV. She was calling Scarlett, I was calling Scarlett, we were just talking, and Scarlett was really fussy all day and not really sleeping, so we were kind of rocking her and holding her. And then Gus came over and said, or no, McKenna said, the baby hasn't slept all day. You should probably bring her home to the bed, to the crib, and let her take a nap there because she's not sleeping. And I
Was
was
she
like, no,
fussy?
she's okay. She was really fussy.
Okay.
And so I said, no, it's okay, we can stay here. And she's like, no, well, it's okay, we can go over there and we can just watch TV or something while she
Okay.
goes to sleep. So I said,
Did you call Gus to come get you guys, or did she call Gus?
I don't know. I don't even know if Gus called. I don't know how it happened, but
Okay.
the phone records might show that
Okay.
day. I don't remember who made that call.
Okay.
But that's another thing that bothers me, is that I wanted to stay there and
Mhm.
I wanted to, I was like, no, she'll fall asleep eventually. We don't have to put her down. And then we
Did-
ended up going and I put her down. And
Did it upset you that you had to leave?
no, I mean,
You just,
it's just a regret of mine now.
Yeah.
Thinking of it now is like, what if we hadn't gone home
Yeah.
and I didn't swaddle her, then what if that just didn't happen at all? But we went home, or Gus took me home.
all right. Now tell me again about that.
So we
So
just.
Gus shows up in his Jeep.
Mhm.
Was she awake, still fussy, kind of calm? At the point
Honestly,
when
I
you were
don't remember
leaving?
right now. All I know is that in the Jeep she was sleeping, or not fussy, she was quiet. She usually would like calm down with
Yeah. With the rod, put
Yeah.
in the car seat. Yeah.
And then when we got home and I took her out, she was kind of awake, kind of not really fussy or anything. And then
Was she breathing though?
she was talking.
Okay.
Like when I put her in the crib, that's why I was so confused, is that she was talking. Like seemed awake.
Okay.
So bringing her in, I think she was just groggy and she definitely was breathing, because I know that she had made noise after
Okay.
that.
That's important.
Yeah. So when I brought her in, I put her down in the crib, and I
Now,
put her,
when you put her in the crib, be as detailed as possible with me on this portion of it.
okay,
Well, from the time that you walked into the door at your house, kind of walk us through step by step, like specifically what you did.
I literally went right to the baby room. I didn't feed her, I didn't change her or anything. I knew she was tired, so I just
Okay.
went straight to the baby room. Like I literally walked in, went right in the baby room. When I got there, she was she wasn't fussy at this point. She was kind of like groggy.
Mm-hmm.
I put her down, but I put her on her stomach. So I like flipped her over and I laid her down.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I was kind of like patting her butt, trying to get her to go to sleep. I thought she was asleep, and then I left and I went to go watch TV. McKenna was gonna come over, and then I think it was right before McKenna got there, I went back in because she started freaking out, having like a total meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when I rolled her over. I got the swaddle out. I put her in the swaddle, but I did it tight because I thought she's fussy. She usually, at least with Gus, a lot of the time he would swaddle her tight
Mm-hmm.
because she would get out of everything. She would do all that. And I didn't, the thing that kills me is I didn't swaddle that much. I usually would just put her down like on her stomach or her back or
Mhm.
whatever it is. But I never really swaddled tight, which is why I got really scared when I found her, and I was like,
How-
of course, like the one time that I do this.
I know, but I mean, how tight are we talking?
I mean, I thought it was tight enough to where she was, I don't know, like not, she wasn't gonna be fussy, she wasn't moving around, she was,
Mhm.
I don't know. I figured it would be,
Do you think it was tight enough where she couldn't breathe?
now looking back, I don't know. That's what hurts me is that at the time I didn't think that. I thought
Mhm.
she was just fussy and I'd swallow her really tight and put her down. But when I found her, that's when I was like, oh my God, did I swallow her too tight?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was blown away. I found her and I was like, it just immediately, that's the thought that I had. And even when we went to the ER on the way there, and when we got there, I was like asking the nurse, I was like, did I hurt her? Did I kill her? Did I swallow her too tight? And she, at the time, they said no, sit.
Yeah.
But it
And-
just kills me, like
Going back to that, they are, and I think we talked about this before, it's kind of outside of their wheelhouse is determining, cause and manner of death. They are emergency care, so, I mean, that's for the pathologist to decide. But that being said, I mean, they probably wanted to make you feel comfortable at that point because it was an emergent situation. So I can understand it a little bit.
And I'm sure that that's like probably the most frequent thing that they see, so they probably like, oh, we see this sometimes. It's wanting to tell you something when they probably should have just left it to the testing and all that. So I get it, but they probably should have left that long.
At any point, did you put the binky in her mouth, or did she have the binky?
I put the binky in her mouth when I swallowed her, but when I found her, it wasn't in her mouth. That's why I don't. But when I went on the couch and McKenna and I were laying there, and I don't know if you talked to McKenna about this, but we heard her do her tired cry and then talking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I didn't. At the time, I was like, yes, I swallowed her. Yes, I did it tight so she would sleep. And we heard her. I hope that was her going to sleep. If it wasn't, that's just.
Well, so let me go over some stuff with you with that.
When you swallow, are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
And then Gus, is he right or left?
I think right. Yeah.
So the problem we're still running into is
Is it the head?
yes, but
Can I tell you something?
yes, you can.
That week that happened, is it for sure that it happened that day?
Yes.
Okay, then that doesn't.
So, and I'll tell you how I know that. So there is a photograph from your iPhone of Scarlett at McKenna's house, laying on
Yeah.
the couch, and exactly what you dressed her in for that day.
Yeah.
And the metadata shows that it was taken about 1 o'clock, somewhere around 1-ish. I don't remember the exact time. But those iPhones are very good quality, the
Yeah.
photographs in them. And it's very, very apparent that there was no
I didn't
injuries
see
on her.
anything either, which
Yeah.
is what I was.
No injuries on her. So from that 1 o'clock time to about, let's see, the 3:30-ish is when she got those marks on her.
Okay.
So the swaddle, all right, I'm tracking. But again, we go back to we got the gap, and that void of information on how those injuries got on her neck and head.
What about the coverall
No,
or the
no,
car seat?
this it's pretty apparent that it's a hand. It's a hand.
Okay.
It's fingerprints, so to speak. And this is why I asked, I think I asked it last time we talked, was there any possible way that you were cradling her against you and just pulled her into you too tight? Or did you push her face into the mattress? Or look, I understand that you have had an extremely hard life. You've told us about, meeting Gus, the baby not being planned. You have a lot on your shoulders, Kate, a lot for anybody to handle. Okay, so I understand if something happened and you're afraid to tell us. You can't be afraid to tell us because we pretty much already know what happened. It's like I said, at this point it's the why it happened. And I don't want people to think that you intentionally harmed your child. And I believe you. But again, I'm gonna go back to it. I know that she didn't die from anything other than being smothered physically. And I know that 99% that she didn't, that the swaddle would not probably be enough to smother her.
So it had to have been something.
So when you went back in after getting coffee and you saw her in the crib, walk me through step by step exactly what you did when you saw her in there.
So I went in. She was really fussy. And I went back in because I laid her down initially on her belly and I thought she was going to sleep, but she didn't. She was really fussy and I went back in the room and I put her to the side, I think, to the left side, I think. I rolled her over. I got the swaddle out. I put her in the swaddle. I put the parts in it like this. I put this part here. I turned this one and put it underneath her. And then I flipped her over. But I can't. The thing that scared me is if I held her too tight or anything. I don't remember doing that. And it scares me because obviously if it happened from me or someone holding her.
Well, that's one thing is that, like we've gone deep into discussion about, the trauma from your parents, you witnessing a suicide, sexually assaulted, all these medical things, postpartum.
Physical, mental abuse.
Yeah, new marriage, new place to live, new puppy, and I know puppies are all over the place.
Being ignored.
Yeah.
It really scared me
And
when
then
you mentioned the psychosis thing. Because
Yeah.
I've never had the diagnosis of it, but I can't remember doing anything like that.
And that's kind of where we're going is that you had a lot on you that day. She was fussy. She wouldn't sleep for more than 15, 20 minutes. And you already have all this other stuff that's just been pounding on you your whole life, pounding on you. And then just recently, like I said, you have a new husband. You have a new baby. You haven't been able to do any of the stuff that you love, all the outdoorsy stuff, the surfing, the exercising, all of that. And that's all that's...
The things that help you stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the only thing to do here, and you can't do it because you're pregnant. And then you get these problems that start at work, and everybody's just on you, and it's just things compounding. I don't know how you made it this long. I would have folded. So it's the way the evidence is laid out. It's almost like you may have flipped for a minute, and when you put her down, if you just flipped out, And
here's another alarming thing with that. That last time we talked, you were describing finding Scarlett, and you specifically said when you picked her up, this is what Kate told Dana, is that she appeared as though someone pushed her face into the mattress.
It did seem.
You said that.
I remember her face looking like that.
Yeah.
So it's very likely
It fits.
that's what happened.
It fits perfect with the science, with the things that have been going on, and nobody
Okay.
blames you. So don't beat yourself up.
Yeah,
Nobody
okay.
blames you.
Listen to me. Listen to me. This is not something we think that you did on purpose.
Definitely not. I mean, they write books on this every day that people that have been dealing with less than you have
Yeah.
have done this. So you don't need to beat yourself up. You're not gonna like end up in prison
You're
or
not-
anything. You need help.
You're not
You need help.
you're not going
That's it.
anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not going to jail today. Nothing like that is gonna happen. Okay? All we need to do is we need to figure out what happened, and I'll tell you how today is gonna go. At the end of today, you and I and Amber are gonna walk over, and we're gonna get you an appointment with the doc.
I already have one, so that looks like. Or do you want a separate one?
I already have an appointment made for you.
Okay.
So you're gonna go over and you're gonna talk to the doc, okay? And you're gonna be honest with him. Because the only thing that matters is, right now, is your health, okay? And you getting some help. And there's not any reason to be ashamed of that. There's nothing to be embarrassed about that. What we talk about in here is not gonna get publicized. We're not gonna go and tell Gus what you told us today. We just gotta know, we have to know what happened to her and why it happened. We know what happened to her, but we need to know the why.
I don't remember. I remember everything that I told you guys, but if I freaked out, it's like blank to me. I can't remember.
Is there anything in there in your and then there's been some time, and usually some things come back over time, and like immediately you probably wouldn't remember, but over time, like you said, you're having little flashes of things.
Yeah.
Is there anything
The
you remember?
swaddle. That's the thing that keeps coming back to me, is that I think I did the swaddle too tight. And like I said at the time, I didn't know that.
So, I'm gonna go over a couple more things with you. So, Scarlett's temperature at the hospital was 91 degrees.
Okay.
Alright, so the normal body temperature for a human, 98.6. So when someone dies, the first hour they lose between 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees of their body temperature in the first hour, and then they lose 2 degrees every hour thereafter. Does that make sense? So your body starts to cool down. So with that, infants are a little bit different because they lose temperature a little bit quicker than a normal
There's
adult-sized person.
less body mass, so they lose it faster.
So the moral of this, why I'm telling you this, is that you got back to the house at 3:32 to be exact.
Okay.
So what we do when we have these investigations is we have to do a timeline. And everything that we can definitively say at a certain time, we put that on a line. So when you and Gus came through the gate, you had to scan your IDs, right? Well, there's a record of that. So that was at 3:31, and it took you a minute to get to the house. So about 3:32 is very great. And then Gus leaves again to go back and get McKenna. So between that time when he left and he comes back, you're with Scarlett, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Everybody else.
Anybody else there? Nobody else there? So with her temperature at the hospital being 91 degrees, you do that math, that puts it for a normal adult at 4 hours. She had been deceased for 4 hours. So you give a little bit of leeway there for her being an infant and losing, her body temperature a lot quicker. That puts it at about 3 hours. And you know what time you guys were at the hospital, and then you count 3 hours back? You know what time that was? That was in the 11 minutes that you were with her. She died in that 11 minutes that you were with her. She got those marks on her in that 11 minutes that you were with her.
So,
Kate, it was you, yes. It was absolutely you, but you gotta reach, and I don't know if you actually remember or you don't actually remember, but if you remember, you gotta tell us. Because I'm telling you, these voids are going to not look good for you based upon the things in your past, and by no fault of your own. We have the information about the Plan B with Scarlett. We have the information about looking for an abortion in March
In Cleveland.
with her.
my
I don't-
mindset totally changed.
I know that. But my fear is that somebody else is not gonna know Kate the way I know Kate.
And then, you had a previous abortion though?
When I was 18.
And then you've got stuff where you've told us that you didn't even really give Gus that much of a thought until he was so adamant. And there's some information out there that kind of makes it look like you threatened Gus to abort the baby had he not moved to Alaska with you. These are all things that are going to be looked at by decision makers, and I don't want them to misconstrue this stuff.
It's one thing if you sit in here with us and we walk through it and you explain it, because we get it.
Yeah.
This is what we do. That's why we're not judging you. It's our minds just can only take so much. And I mean, we've all been in a place where we just didn't know what the hell we were gonna do. We were just freaking out, and before we knew it, we punched a wall, or I don't want to say kicked it off, but
It's
just
physiology.
frustration. It just builds up.
It's normal
Yeah.
for somebody that has the amount of shit that you have on you. It's not abnormal. Premeditated murder is when, hey, I freaking hate this person. I want them out of the world, period. And they plan in their head to go do something to that person to kill them. Neither one of us at any stage in this investigation have thought that this is you. Do you want to know what I think? Personally, I think that you have a lot of shit on you. You've had a shit on you your whole life. I know that you say that you and Gus are in a great space, but I know how it is when you get married. I know how it is when you start transferring in the military, when you're both dual military, when you have a brand new baby, when you've never had to deal with children before, you've never babysat, you've never dealt with children. You have the responsibility of you have the responsibility of Scarlett, you have the responsibility of Gus, you have all these family members that got putting pressure on you, and then you have a baby that is screaming her head off, and the world is closing in on you.
And everybody expects you to have this great motherly, this is the best thing in the world, and it's not. It freaking sucks.
You've reached out
It's
for
a
help.
lot.
You've let people know that you're struggling, and you didn't get the help you needed. So is it off base for me to think that you put her in the crib, she wouldn't go to sleep, she wouldn't lay down, she was screaming her head off, and you went back in, you swaddled her, and maybe you were a little rough with her. Maybe you got a little bit rough with her, and you're a brand new parent, I can understand that. But at the end of the day, those marks got on the back of her head. It's more than likely a handprint, and she was smothered in the mattress. Now, do I think that you don't remember it? No, I think you remember it. I think it's going to take you facing it yourself to talk about it. But I think if you don't talk about it, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to carry it with you your whole life, and it's going to destroy you. And two is that all these voids and all this information that doesn't look good for you is going to be looked at by prosecutors. And when they look at it, I don't want to be the one that says, hey, she said she didn't remember. Here's the report. If you flipped out and you pushed her head into the mattress, okay.
Totally understandable.
Okay.
Totally.
So let's go get you some help.
Yeah. And that's our main thing right now today is this is your chance to say, look, life beat the shit out of me. I was messed up. That day was horrible and I flipped and I need help. Because I do truly believe
you don't belong in jail.
No, you don't.
But you need to get some help.
You definitely need some help.
You need somebody to help you with all the shit that has happened to you in your life, and it's not your fault.
It is not at all. I mean, and like you said, you need help. You don't need to be in jail. We can look back at your records. Everything is documented. You reached out for help. All the things that happened before. It's like somebody wrote a book on why Scarlett died. It's laid out there. You took one hit after the next, after the next, after the next. It's like somebody's just using you as a punching bag your whole life. I get it.
You're not the first mother
No.
that has had this issue. You're not the first mother. You're not going to be the
Never
last.
essentially.
I know.
We know it's not intentional. We know you did not do this on purpose. I think that you wanted to love Scarlett. I think you wanted to feel all of those feelings that you feel, all these other mothers feel, and I think you tried your hardest to feel that way. I think you were trying so hard to be the greatest mother, the greatest wife, the greatest employee, and things just came crashing down. I think you truly wanted those things, and I think you tried your damnedest to get there. But at some point, it all just came to a point where you just exploded.
Came to a breaking point.
Yeah, you came to a breaking point where life had just broke you at that moment, and it happened to be when Scarlett was having her complete meltdown, and you just wanted to rest, and you needed to rest. You did. You needed to rest. You deserved to rest. And she just would not stop.
Which is why we don't feel like this is your fault, okay?
I think you clicked. I think you just, like you said, life just broke you at that moment. Everything that you had been through, all the things you have been trying to accomplish, you said yourself that when somebody shit on you or treated you bad or did you wrong, it gave you motivation to do better. And I think you did that as a mother. You tried and tried and tried to have that connection with Scarlett, have that connection with Gus, to be that mother. And at that moment, when she had that breakdown and you had just been tired from all day, everything came to a head and you just broke. And it's okay. But what we need to do now is we need to get that out, number one, because I don't want a prosecutor looking at this and saying, well, she won't even say what she did. It's okay that it happened, but we need to get her help. I don't want them to look at it and...
Something's got to happen.
Yeah. Either we have to talk about this or...
Can I tell you something too?
I want you to tell me what happened, Kate.
Just 2 days before, that whole week, I was being discriminated by my office.
I know.
And the 16th, I met with a warrant and told him everything. Which, by the way, he said, I haven't heard anything. And he said, it's beyond him. He doesn't know what happened anymore.
I know. You were
It's
failed.
been terrible, but that week, it was like the most stressful week I've had in a very long time.
I know it was.
We've gotten all the records, we've collected
Kate, I know
things.
everything that was going on over there. I have talked to everybody.
That place is fucked up. I mean, it's rumors and this and that.
I know
I don't know
how
how
much-
you worked there.
I know how much bullshit you had on you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I know what happened. And I know why it happened,
Yeah.
but I can't say that. You were the one there. You're the one that has to talk to us about it. I can't put the words in your
I
mouth.
was really mad.
I know it was.
I was really mad when I put her down, is what I'm saying. I would never hurt her
I know.
intentionally, but
Kate, I know.
I didn't think I actually hurt her.
Did you put your hand on the back of her head and neck and push her face into the mattress?
I might have. I know that I was really mad and the swaddle was what I was concerned about, but
It wasn't a swaddle.
It definitely was
And
not.
I know you didn't want to hurt her. I freaking know you didn't want to hurt her. But look, here's the thing: is you gotta get some help.
Mhm.
You asked for help and you didn't get it. And nobody can do this shit on their own. I know you think you can because you're a survivor, but nobody can do it on their own.
And up until that point, you have been doing it yourself. And that's why you broke at that moment.
I would
Because-
never though, never.
Oh.
Especially her.
We know it wasn't intentional. When things like that happen and life breaks you, it's not because you intended for it to happen.
Kate,
It's not.
the stuff that's going on with you, the PTSD, the postpartum depression, none of that is your fault.
I was getting an evaluation for PTSD the week after.
I know, but none of it's your fault, kid. It's not your fault.
Your parents
I
failed
don't know how I
you.
could live with myself if I was the reason.
And that's part of it. Part of living with yourself is accepting that it's not your fault. Your parents
It feels
failed
like
you.
my fault.
Life failed you. The Coast Guard failed you. There's so many failures in your life. It's not your fault. And in order to live with yourself, we have to get this out. We got to get the truth out there, and then we have to get you help. And that's 100% why we're here today. We need you to tell us what happened so that we can get things rolling on getting you help. Because without the truth, I mean, where do you think that the attorneys are gonna go? You know,
And I don't remember. I know that this is very scary for you, and this is a big turning point in your life. But you got to do this for yourself, not for anybody else.
I was really mad.
I know
did
you were.
freak out.
I know you did.
and what happened when you freaked out?
The main thing I remember is the swaddle, but I do remember holding her. But I didn't think I didn't understand that was hard enough or that I had hurt her. I
Mhm.
never thought that
When-
I actually hurt her.
And I kind of feel like you may have pushed her face into the mattress just to get her to quiet down. And it just happened, it was a little too long.
What's really sad too is that I've told Gus for a long time that loud noises are a trigger for PTSD
Mhm.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially from when I was younger, just loud noises and
Mm-hmm.
babies crying before Scarlett was born was a really big trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to deal with that.
You're gonna get through this.
I don't know how.
You're gonna get through this.
And her having a complete meltdown at that moment, and you've been dealing with it all day. You hadn't rested, she hadn't rested, and then you get that trigger. Then what happened when that triggered you?
I don't know, I got mad and I swaddled her. It must have been when I rolled her over then, because I swaddled her. When I put her in the swaddle and I swaddled her and I turned her over, and then that's probably when I did that.
And
Probably, or did you do it? And it's okay, Kate, I already know, but
Not intentionally.
I know you didn't do it intentionally. Do you remember doing it though?
Vaguely. Mostly remember the swaddle. That was
Mhm.
the biggest thing, but I was just mad.
I know. We're gonna get you some help, okay?
Am I in trouble?
No.
I honestly don't know how I can live with myself.
we're not lying to you. You're not in trouble. We
You-
100% need to get you some help.
You got to go and you got to take care of Kate, okay? You gotta take care of Kate. Cause Kate's gonna be successful. Kate's gonna go on, okay? Kate's gonna have a wonderful life ahead of her. Kate's not a person that needs to be put in jail because she's a monster. Kate needs to go talk to the doctor, and Kate needs to get herself okay.
Do you think this was a PTSD?
I don't know, Kate. I don't know. I'm not you. I'm not in your head, but I know that you're not a violent, malicious person. I know how, again, we know how Scarlett died, and I don't think it was intentional, but I think you remember it, and I think you've told us that.
I guess I just don't remember that I would think that would hurt her. I thought the swaddle
What were you trying to do when you pushed her face into the mattress? Were you trying to get her to quiet down?
I didn't think I pushed her hard though. I just was patting her and pushing her.
I got you. And this is, it's a tragedy, it's an accident.
Whatever.
I know.
We know that. And I thank you because you've been through some shit in your life, but this is probably the hardest thing that you've had to come out of your mouth and say, because that is tough.
You know what?
It just
And
scared
it's-
because I did it. I would never think that. Like I said at first, I thought it was tense. That I remembered the swaddle, the tightness, and that I, at the hospital, freaked out about the swaddle. I didn't even think about that.
What are you afraid of right now? What's your biggest fear?
I'm just afraid that it was my fault, and I don't know how I could. I don't know how I could live knowing that
Well, here
she passed because of me.
let's get this out in the open too. So, have you ever had suicidal ideations? Have you ever thought about hurting yourself?
When I was 16, and then when I dealt with the suicide.
This is a big thing in your life right now that I'm sure you have a lot of guilt for. Am I right? If you have thoughts of hurting yourself or anything like that, I want you to talk to somebody. I mean, we're gonna go talk to the doc right now, but I want you to be 100% honest with him, because what you tell the doc is between you and the doc, okay? And that's the first step that you have to take over there with getting yourself healthy. And you can't shade things over there. You can't tell lies over there. You can't conceal stuff over there. When he asks you questions, it doesn't matter about none of this stuff. None of this stuff matters over there, okay? That's between you and your doctor. And we're gonna take you over there. We're gonna leave, and that's gonna be between you and him, okay? One of the things that, and I'll let him talk about it, but you have some options, okay? You're not going to jail today. You don't need to go to jail.
We legit need you to be okay. You have been through so much, and that's why, like Dana's saying, when you talk to the doctor, don't kind of dance around what maybe you did, what you think you might have done. It's apparent what happened, and it's okay. It is okay.
Yes.
I just never think that.
I know you don't.
At the time,
I know.
I would never think that she would pass away, and especially because of me or anything that I did. I didn't
Babies
understand.
are different. Babies are all different.
Yeah.
Kate, I mean, some are fragile. Some are really fragile. Some are like mine. I told you the story of me turning my head for 1 second and mine diving out of the basket. Nothing happened to him. You put another baby in that situation, and you have a broke neck. You have a dead baby. You know what I mean? They don't come with directions.
Life is just crazy.
They don't come with directions, and you should have had more help. You should have had more help. You are in a remote area of Alaska with no support system, with a brand new husband, a brand new baby, and a workplace that is putting pressure on you that should not have been put on you.
You're crying out for help. I can see in the documentation you're crying out for help with them
The
at
whole
work.
time.
Hey, I got this going on, and they're like, yeah, whatever, or not believing you,
You're
or
fair.
you're not pulling your weight. You know, it's just like you said.
This is not one person's fault.
Yeah.
And that I want you to carry with you, that this was an accident and it is not entirely your fault. It's not entirely your fault. You got some ownership in it. But it's stuff that has continued to build up in your life. It's a tragedy, Kate.
And if you truly want to get better, then you have to, like I said, don't dance around it. Just own it. This is what happened. I was going through some shit. I was angry. I was frustrated. I had a trigger. Charlotte's completely melting down. I had it to my wit's end that day, and this is what happened. I mean, I know it's hard to get out of your mouth and say. It's like anytime any of us do anything that we think people will see us in a bad light, it's hard for us to even get it out of our mouths. It is.
It is.
But I guarantee you there is no judgment in this room, and we just want you to get help.
And here's the other thing too, is like the stuff that we talked about today. We're not gonna tell Gus this stuff. You deal with Gus at your own pace. So you go get yourself some help. You want to tell him something? You tell him, you know what? I just lost my baby. I'm in a place where I need to get some help. I can't do it on my own. And I'm going to go get fixed. And you go get fixed. And when you're ready to talk to him about it, then you're ready to talk to him about it, okay? But you gotta focus on yourself, Kate. Now's not the time. You're not ready to start facing other people about this, okay? The first thing that you have to do, you have to make priority number one, and that's taking care of you. Does that make sense? Don't worry about everybody else right now. Put it on pause. Pause everything, take care of yourself. You can't help other people, you can't fix other people until you're in a place where you're good. You gotta take care of yourself first. And that's something that you haven't done your whole life.
Has this happened to other people before?
Yes, it's happened to other people.
Definitely.
Have PTSD or
Yes.
have gone through trauma.
That's kind of part of the reason we know what happened.
That's why there's a doctor, not just one, but many. We just found one that specifically deals with this because it's not just you. Life can mess people up between trauma, PTSD, postpartum, just like you know firsthand, things that happen throughout your life that just build up to this one moment. And nobody's here to judge you for 5 minutes of your life. You have a whole life full of great things. We're not here to judge you based on those few minutes. You broke at that moment, and it's okay. But you, like Dana said, you do have to own up to what happened, and you have to be honest about it. But it's okay.
Because, and I appreciate what, but any of the stories or the line or I don't remembers or anything like that causes people reservation, saying she's concealing something, she's not telling us something, she's trying to hide something, she did this on purpose. And I don't think that's the case. And that's why, I know, and that's why I wanted you to just come out and tell us what happened. That's all I wanted.
So
Because I know it wasn't on purpose.
Definitely not. So when you put her down and you said you flipped her over, then what happened when you were pushing her into the mattress?
Because she wouldn't stop crying, and I was just trying to get her to calm down. But again, that's even until now, I didn't think that was the reason that she passed. I thought it was the spot on. I didn't even think anything of that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this too. When you and McKenna said you heard her,
Yeah, that's what I'm not understanding either, is that
what exactly did you hear? Because here's the thing: is when people are deceased, people pass away, they still make noises.
really,
Mm-hmm.
like
Things leave your
auditory.
body, like gas leaves your body, air leaves
Yeah.
your body, different things, and it does.
It's normal. So I don't disbelieve that you heard something, but
I
don't think
honestly heard. I thought I heard a tired cry and then like talking.
you after that 11-minute time span, I don't think you heard her crying.
Do you think it was in my head maybe?
I don't know what you heard, but
I definitely heard a baby
And
like
this is-
tired cry and then like a talking period after that, but it was kind of decreasing, but I thought that was her going to sleep.
And this is the thing too, you said, you know, you put the pacifier in her mouth, so when you flipped her over and you kind of pushed her into the mattress, was her pacifier still in her mouth then?
I don't want to say yes or no because I don't really know, but I know I put her down with a pacifier,
Yeah.
but when I went in it wasn't there.
Right,
It was
but
next
that's,
to her.
okay, and that may have fallen out when you rolled her over or you picked her up because she had an imprint.
Maybe.
She had an imprint
Oh,
of that pacifier.
Mhm.
So it was there,
So maybe
it was in her mouth when she passed away, and it left an imprint of when she laid there after dying, it left an imprint. So we know it was there. So that would kind of rule out crying too, because if she was crying or talking, it would have probably
come out.
likely popped out.
I
So-
think that's, yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure McKenna heard that, because we talked about it on the
Mhm.
couch. So, I just like, I don't know, I didn't understand that
Yeah,
there could be noises after, maybe that's what I had heard.
yeah. So we know
But I
that
heard
was
something.
there. And then something that I thought about after we talked and then after we spoke to the doctor, in the last time that we were all sitting out there talking, and we talked about how when things got kind of rough in your life, you know, even if to this day, if you get into it with Gus, what do?
Leave.
You leave, you run. And that's why there's a lot of things, but this is one of them, is that why I think you knew something bad happened, not that you know, caused her death or anything, but I think you knew something bad happened and you were definitely frustrated because as soon as Gus came home, you and McKenna left. What did you do? You left. You ran. You went to get coffee and just cool out.
And while you were gone, you had that bad feeling. You told us about that.
I did, I had
You had
a
a
bad
bad
feeling when
feeling.
I was coming home.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too, is when you came home, I think you went in to check on Scarlett because you knew something bad happened. Not because you wanted to feed her, not because you wanted to show her to Gus's family, and not for any other reason than you knew something.
I know that I
Yeah.
put her down. I know that I had put her down angry. Like I was just really, I don't know. I don't even remember like specific little details of everything.
Did you
but
think when you were having coffee, did you think she was dead?
I don't know if I thought she was dead, but I thought about it and I was like, I think I might have swallowed her too hard, or maybe I was rough with her. I didn't think that she was dead. I just
Were you
thought
worried
that
about you possibly hurt her though?
that's kind of what I was concerned about. But
Were you hoping that Gus was gonna go in and check on her?
I don't know. I mean, when we were driving home, I had a weird feeling, but then I kind of discarded it because I could never in my wildest dreams imagine I would come home and she would actually be passed away.
Yeah.
But
But
I
at
guess I
the,
didn't.
at the point when you did swaddle her, put the pacifier in her mouth and then flipped her over and you kind of caught yourself pushing her face into the mattress, at some point you obviously, because you didn't want to hurt her, you caught yourself and then, you know, because when McKenna got there, you were like folding laundry, weren't you?
Yeah. I
So,
think
so it's almost like catching yourself and then you're like, let me get back into my routine, do something normal. So just, again, leaving in your mind. So, I mean, at that point, I mean, like I said, you gotta just be upfront about it because, like we told you, we get questions from attorneys, we get questions from the pathologist, from the specialist, and I don't think they're gonna be okay with, I think I may have hurt her when I pushed her face into the mattress. They need to hear it from you, and mostly it's us. And I know you didn't do it on purpose. I know you didn't. Like you said, you were mad, you'd gone through all this stuff piling up on you. And I think at some point when you were pushing her face into the mattress, you caught yourself, like,
I did.
because something stopped you.
Yeah.
Well, I did because I wanted her to stop crying and I was trying to get her to stop crying. But then I was like, it just kind of like clicked back in.
Yeah.
I wasn't clicked in, I guess.
So explain to us how that went from when you swallowed her, flipped her over with the pacifier in her mouth. Tell me how that happened, when it happened, and then you caught yourself, and kind of walk me through that.
I think, so I swaddled her tight, which is what, at the time I was angry.
Uneasy about?
I was uneasy, but again, I could never in my wildest dreams imagine that she actually passed away. But when I flipped her over, she was still having the meltdown, and I don't know, I guess. It's hard for me to even say it because I don't even I didn't even feel like I was clicked in. I was just angry. And I've had these times before where I just not like that, but where I just in general have totally zoned out or totally
Mhm.
I'm just, it's almost like I'm reliving stuff.
I know it's
But-
hard.
I don't know. And then when I flipped her over, you're right, the way that you described it, of just I kind of realized what was going on, but I still didn't think that I had heard, I didn't, I don't,
Because you didn't mean to.
and I also I just really, to this day, I didn't think that's how she had passed. I really didn't think that. I thought I might have swaddled her too tight, and that really freaked me out, but that didn't even register in my mind, which is what scares me, is that wasn't my automatic thought of oh, this is how she passed away.
You remember pushing on her head and neck though, right?
Yeah, I didn't think that I did it that way.
Is there any other times when you and Scarlett, or you had Scarlett, and you got these where you just felt like the world was crashing in on you and you got rough with her? Or remember we were talking about the bruises on her legs?
I actually did kiss her.
Was that the kiss?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the kiss thing.
Was there any other times when you were struggling with it though? When you're struggling
I
with taking
struggled
care
with
of
anger
it?
a lot with postpartum depression and just all the PTSD, all the other stuff that was going on. But I would get angry, but I wouldn't. Most of the time, I would give her to Gus, and I would just be I gotta get out,
Yeah.
I gotta leave. And
Yeah.
that's my coping mechanism, is to.
Yeah.
And you didn't have that then. You were
didn't
dealing
have it.
with it. You had the trigger.
Gus
Gus wasn't
around.
home, and McKenna wasn't even there because he was going to get her. You had nothing, and
And
every
you had
other
a
time,
screaming kid with PTSD.
So, and you may not know, but I do need you to be as upfront as possible. Do you know how long you held her head into the mattress before you
To me, I didn't
jumped
think
out
it
of
was
it?
long, but again, and I'm not saying I don't know, because I'm
Yeah.
trying not to tell you guys, I genuinely just,
Don't know.
it's I vaguely remember, but
And all we
that
want is
wasn't
a-
very clear to me, because again, I didn't even think that was why she had passed. I thought the swaddle was initial swaddle or SIDS or something, but it was too tight. So for that, I don't know, I didn't even register that would have caused her death.
Yeah. Does Gus know about any of this?
No. He knows that I've been dealing with PTSD. He knows I've been discriminated over and over.
Yeah.
He knows that I've been suffering a lot with postpartum depression. It's been so hard for me. But
The one great thing about him is, from the way you describe him, it seems like he's the most understanding guy through all of this so far. And I think he'll stand behind you because it's not your fault. If I was gonna write a story on, not even of your life, just of how this may happen to somebody, your life from day one is textbook on the build-up for this to happen.
Another important thing here to think of is that you should be honest with yourself, number one, but you should be honest with everybody else, because there's other girls that are in your position that aren't as strong as you, Kate, and don't understand what's going on, and you being honest and telling your story is just it does nothing but help someone else and maybe prevents another tragedy. Does that make sense? And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a tragedy.
It's just really hard for me because my whole life has been so, like, I've never known good things. I feel like.
You're an active duty Coast Guard member that's serving their country. You're not a strung out on drugs in a flop house, ignoring your child and pushed her face into the mattress because she was a problem. That's not you.
I would never.
I think you legit tried your damnedest and persevered through so many things to be that great mother.
I wanted to so
Yeah.
much. I mean, that at the beginning when we first got pregnant, I'm still, obviously, I have a lot of stuff going on mentally with everything, but at the time, I was like, I never wanted kids. I didn't want a family. I knew what a family was like from what I've had, and I didn't want it. I just was afraid to have a family. And then I had a really rough time through pregnancy. I had really bad postpartum depression the first couple months, but then it started to get better, at least I thought.
With the meds?
Yeah, there's just, the last couple of months were so much better with her, I thought. That's why it's just so hard that it was finally like getting better and like things were looking up, and I just don't know.
And that's just how life goes. It'll get better, and then we'll get hit again, and you're getting hit with stuff at work and stress, and then, you know, nobody believing you about medical issues, and
I had
You know.
surgery like 2 weeks before it happened.
yeah, that's not, if that doesn't tell you you had a true medical issue, because they're not just gonna open you up for no reason, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough. All of that is tough, and at the same point, you're trying to work and trying to be a good mother. And like I said, I know just from talking to you that everything you do, you want to give 100% and you want to be the best. And I think that it's hard when people have these outside expectations of you as a mother, what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to feel. That's crap, because it's different for everybody. Some people never get attached to their child. Some people it takes some time. Some people are immediately attached. It's different for each person, but society makes us feel like this is what you're supposed to be. And I think you tried and you wanted to live up to that, but it was harder for you. And honestly, we all see why it was harder for you. You have had a rough time. So that's why we say don't. I mean, we know you're going to beat yourself up because that's just what happens. But
you need to be getting somebody. You need to have a support network, a support system,
Yes.
while you're doing that. And I think that the doc's going to give you some options over there that are going to be your choice. But I think you should take advantage of them.
Is it, well,
Go ahead.
am I gonna be discharged?
Do you want to be?
Honestly, I don't really, I don't really feel like I can focus on, when I was trying to do work, my mind goes blank, I go into flashbacks, I can't.
Well, the first thing is that you gotta get the help, and the Coast Guard's gonna provide that, so take advantage of it. And then whatever you wanna do afterwards,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna honor it. Okay?
I actually asked a temp step and they denied me.
Well, this is different.
yeah,
This
And
is
you-
different. And that's part of the problem.
yeah.
That's part of the problem where you were reaching out for help and nobody helped you.
I wrote in did you read my temp step request?
Yeah.
And I said I'm emotionally and physically
Mm-hmm.
exhausted, I have all
I
these
heard.
issues, I can't do all this at once.
I saw it, which is,
And that's why I have confidence in you now. You, even through all this, you are very self-aware of what you need, and you have asked for it. And it may not have been given to you, but you have been very aware of what you need. And you've been failed up to this point, and it needs to be taken care of now. Because we gotta work on Kate, getting Kate back to a happy place. being okay on the
Yeah,
inside.
there's gonna be some ups and downs over the next couple of weeks. Internally, I mean internally, you're gonna have some good days, you're gonna have some bad days. You gotta go work on it.
Am I in trouble though?
You're not in trouble.
We were being honest with you. I don't want to
No, I
come
wasn't
in
lying
and
to
lie
you.
to anybody. No. We
I've been
really
asking
do
for
care
help
about
for
you.
so long.
You're not in trouble, Kate. But here's what I want you to take very seriously, okay? We're gonna go walk over to the clinic, talk to Doc Sheffield, and he's going to probably offer you the option of going over to Chris Kyle for a little while.
Go to where?
Chris Kyle. It's a outpatient, inpatient treatment center
I
with
think you would
counselors.
love that. I think you would
It's
love that.
it's a treatment facility for military members, and it's not like jail. It's not jail at all. In fact, they go do a lot of fun stuff over there, but they have counselors available. And I think you need to take yourself out of this situation for a little while and go over there and focus on yourself. It's not a mandatory thing, but it's something that I've seen a lot of people go over there, and it's really helped them out a lot. And I think you should go. I think you should consider it. And I don't know what their availability is, because a lot of people do take advantage of it, so they have only a certain number of people that they can have over. But if he talks about you or talks to you about that, I want you to really consider it.
Is it a really long program?
No,
Or is it-
it's I think they have like 2-week programs, and then they have 28-day programs, and it's all self-paced. It's all, I mean, it's not some shit where you're in a padded room and you get meds at 5 o'clock and you can't move about. It's just like the clinic over here. You get your own room. You get interact with other people. You get to the support groups that you were talking about calling. You get that all there, and they have people on staff to talk to, and they take trips out to. The last guy that went over there went on a ski trip. So I was trying to go, but they wouldn't let me.
So and that's why I think it'd be good for you, because it's a perfect mix of counseling, of getting help, of group stuff, of outdoorsy stuff that you love.
Yeah,
It's
that you
like
love.
a whole body, spiritual, mind, everything that you need. And like I said, I think you're very great at being self-aware of what you need.
Yeah.
And it's
This-
just time for somebody to give it to you.
It's not something that has to be. I don't think it needs to be mandated with you, but it's another good thing that it shows that you're reaching out and you're trying to get the help that you need. Because again, I don't think jail is where you belong.
And
Not
don't
for 1
worry
second.
about, it's easy for me to say, but don't worry about home and you guys transferring and all that. That can still happen.
It's all gonna happen.
But you need to take care of you, because if you don't, you're just gonna go to Cape Cod and still have all this going on. You know that in your life, stuff has not just disappeared and gone away on its own. No matter how hard you fight, it hasn't. And you know you need some extra support, and this is a great opportunity to get that support.
As far as Gus goes, I can send Jose over there to grab Gus, and when you're ready, if you want to talk to him, if you decide you want to go up to Chris Kyle, we could try and get you a flight. I'm leaving today anyway, so I could fly with you. If they don't have the seats, you may end up staying a little while. Maybe I can get Dave to go up and we can take you over there. But the point is that you can tell him, hey, I just need some support right now, and I need to fix me, and I'm gonna go do this for a little while, and you get the stuff ready to move, and you deal with it, and I'll be better when I'm better. Does that make
And
sense?
I think he'd understand that,
He
because he
absolutely-
knows your
he can-
history. He knows,
Yep.
even outside of this, he knows
He'll be
that
able
it would be good for you to get the help that you have been crying for,
He'll
that
be
you've
able
been
to
trying to get.
Yep, he'll be able to come up and visit if you want him to. It's all, you guys are transferring anyway. It just gets you out here a little earlier, and you don't need to be around here.
You don't have to deal with
There's-
work, telework.
There is no good. There's more bad memories for you right here than there are good memories. You need to get away from that. You need to start moving on, and rebuilding. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does it sound good?
It does. I just don't want to be away from Gus.
Well, like I
Maybe
said,
Gus can go up there with you.
And if he can't, I mean, if he can't stay there with you, then
Yeah,
like
I
you
mean,
said, he
he
can
can come
come
visit.
visit.
That's
But-
part, if that's what you want, that's part of your healing. That's not, nobody's gonna prevent that.
Yeah, and part of your healing may be, I mean, I know you still need to see Gus, but part of your healing may be just stepping away from everybody and every responsibility, and not permanently, just have your own moments where you can zone out, you can cry, you can be mad, because all of those emotions are going to be there. You know that because they've been there already.
They're not gonna go away overnight.
But at that point, in that kind of environment, you can take the time to actually deal with them. You don't have to say, oh, I'm gonna put this aside for a minute because I have to deal with work. I have to put this aside for a minute because I have to make us happy. Put this aside because I have to deal with the dog. I have to put this aside because I'm talking to family and they expect me to be happy or be okay, and I don't want to, but I have to put on that face. If you get some separation, you can just deal with it. Just get the help, deal with it yourself. Take time for Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's pulling at Kate. Everybody wants something from Kate. It's time for Kate to deal with Kate.
And again, we're not gonna tell Gus what we talked about today. That's for you to talk to Gus about when you're ready.
Because
So-
he knows you have all those
Yeah.
emotions. He knows that you probably do need the help, and you may even need some separation. Like I said, he can come visit you as much as he wants to. But when he's not there visiting, you
That's
can
your time.
let all that out. No extra responsibilities. Nobody's expecting anything from you. Nobody's you need to get this done for work. You know, just work on you getting better. Because that's what we're really concerned about.
Can I tell you guys something?
Okay, you can tell us anything.
I might be pregnant.
That's something that's even more reason for you to get yourself better.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be too. I really wanted to keep growing our family, but
Then you know
I don't
what?
know how I.
Then do it. Just get yourself better.
You have a whole, 8-9 months probably to work on yourself.
And you know what you're dealing with now.
Mm-hmm.
So you focus on fixing it.
You know what your limits are. You know what it entails to have a baby.
You brought
You-
a God up a lot and religion up a lot since we've talked. You focus on the things that are important to you.
So when you were communicating with Jose, a week or two ago, and you went to the doctor, did they say you were pregnant then, or no, or?
No. We've actually been just trying because we wanted to keep growing our family.
Is that, now let me ask you this, is this Gus pressuring you to do this, or is
No.
this something that you wanted to?
This is all me.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But you definitely, and I think you know it too, you need to get this counseling, get this help, and then when you do have another baby, it's not gonna be all sunshine and stuff, but, I mean, it's still gonna be hard, but at least you'll be able to cope with it.
You'll be aware of,
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
things that you gotta be cognizant
Yeah.
of.
You'll know the triggers, you'll know, hey, I don't need to be alone right now, you'll know when to just step away, you'll know, you're like
Mommy
you said,
time out.
What'd you say?
Mommy time out.
you know about stinky diapers and crying babies already. You've had some experience in it, so I think you're a little better prepared. But I think you also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually need to work through a lot of things before a baby does come.
Yeah.
And you have that outlet now, and that's exactly what we want for you. We don't think you're a horrible person. We think you have horrible circumstances, and we want you to be able to work through that and be successful. Because you got a lot of dreams, you have a lot of ambition.
You're a
You're a
very
great
intelligent person.
Oh, very, very. So I think there's nothing that you can't do. It's just you you gotta work on yourself from the inside. And like you said, part of that is when you do talk to the doctor, don't hide behind, I could have. Just, part of healing is just getting it out there. Like, look, I feel crappy about this, but this is what happened, and this is why, and I feel bad,
They
but
can't,
I'm a good person.
they can't help you unless you tell them what's
Yeah.
wrong.
I just feel like a terrible.
You're not a terrible person.
You're not. I see you as the same great person that I first met the first time I met you. So you're not a
Okay,
terrible person.
look at me. You're not a terrible person. A lot of people have been sitting in your shoes.
How does this usually go for them? Or what usually? Or in other cases like
They
this?
go and they get the help that they need.
It just all depends on what they put into it. If they put into it what they say they want and want to get better,
Yeah.
life can get better. Now, if they just keep denying that anything happened and don't want to be honest about it, then it's just going to eat you up on the inside. So it's what you put into it is what you're
Exactly.
going to get out of it.
Your history of picking yourself up after you get pushed down is impeccable. You need to pick yourself up from this and do what you do.
But this time when you pick yourself up, you're going to have some support under your wings.
Would be nice.
You're not alone.
Yeah. And there's only so much you can do by yourself. You have done a damn good job to this point. But like I said, I feel like you part of you still does need to pick yourself up. But while you're up, you do need that support. Because at a certain point, everybody's going to fall. And it's okay. So tell us what you want to do from here. Do you want to talk to Gus before you go to the doctor? Or you just want to go to the doctor and see what happens and then talk to Gus? Or do you want to at least call him and say, hey, I'm going to the doctor? I mean, whatever, we want to do what's best for Kate, so.
I'm really worried about Gus with all this. Because if I leave, I don't know, I just don't want our marriage to fall apart. I don't want him to.
Maybe you bring him over here and you talk to him. And you don't necessarily have to tell him that everything we talked about, but just tell him that I'm gonna go talk to the doc, and we'll see from that. But I might take a little break for a while, and you can come up and visit me. It's up to you, Kate.
I think he knows that you need something.
He-
You've been crying for it all this time.
Gus is
He
gonna
knows
be
you need it.
supportive with whatever you decide. He's gonna support you, and if you tell him that you need to go and you need to get yourself better, that you're struggling with some things, and it's time for you, he's gonna support you. Gus is, you said it yourself, he is always there after you take off and you need your time. This is no different. Gus is gonna be there.
And 100% honest, if you were my spouse and I knew what you had been through and I knew that this tragedy just happened, I would want you to get the help so that we could make it. Because if you don't get the help, you're probably not going to make it. So I would be appreciative that you're taking that step for us.
And if you don't feel comfortable telling him you wanna go do it, tell him that the Coast Guard's making you go.
Yeah, we're worried about you and your PTSD and your trauma, and it's, you broke down and you cried and we got worried about you and we're making you go.
Yeah.
I don't want to be blamed for anything.
Yeah. You can blame Amber.
Yeah.
I don't want him mad at me.
I'm not here permanently anyway, so you can get mad at me.
But I think, again, it's up to you, but I think it's what you need.
Do you think I'd be able to get in?
I hope so. You can talk to Doc Sheffield. They'll call and they'll find out. And if you can, like I said, I don't mind. I'm going back over to Anchorage today. We could roll over there today, or more than likely, I think that'd be tough with the planes, but you may be able to jet out of here on Monday or something. But let's go over and talk to him and find out. Do you want to talk to Gus first, or do you want to just go over and talk to the doc first, and we can come back over here and talk to Gus? It's up to you. The doc stuff, we're gonna step out. We're not gonna be involved with that. That's between you and the doc. But I want you to feel, unless you want, it's up to you. I just want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to get that you need. I don't want you to feel pressured at all. If you want to sit here for a few minutes and just decompress, it's up to you.
If I go, would I need to be worried about anything happening with this? Or
No.
if I go, can I just go and like?
Yeah. Kate, you
Like,
can
what
still
about-
you can still call me. You can still ask me questions. I'm still going to keep you in the loop. This is not the last time we're ever going to talk.
Yeah.
I want to see you get better.
So I don't need to go and be afraid of anything
No.
happening to me.
If I was going to take you to jail, I've already done it.
You
Okay.
have already gotten over the hardest hump that you're gonna face, and,
Yep.
and that is getting it out.
Yeah, it's
That was the
out.
hardest part.
It's not as bad as you thought it was. It's a tragedy. It's tragic. It is, but we can fix all this.
Yeah.
Everything can be fixed. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. You don't have to worry about us showing up and taking you anywhere you don't want to go. Okay? As long as you're doing the right things. Okay? Because here's the thing. If you're a danger to yourself, or if you're a danger to somebody else, those are the two things that I have no control over what happens at that point, okay? As long as you're getting help for yourself, you're being honest, and you're not a danger to yourself, you're not a danger to others, then you have the opportunity to fix yourself. If you refuse to do that, then things change. Does that make sense? Okay. Because the last thing that anybody wants in this situation, and that is another tragedy. Okay, so this is not the end of the world. This is all fixable, and you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person.
You're actually a pretty strong person.
I have more respect for you now than when you walked in earlier.
Yeah.
I respected you a lot then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you let us know what you want to do. If you want to walk over now, we'll go walk over now. Everything's going to be private. You're not going to have to worry about everybody knowing your business. This is between you, me, and Amber, okay? And you, Doc Sheffield, everything that you tell him is between you and Doc Sheffield. Does that make sense? And then whatever, if you decide you want to go over to Chris Kyle for a little bit and hang out, whatever you talk to them about, that's all medical privilege and information. That's between you and them too. But you gotta, Kate, you gotta use your resources. Because if you are pregnant, you got a time limit.
Get better.
You got a time limit. And you owe it to the baby, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to Gus.
Yeah.
Alright? So let's walk over.
I'll get it. You wanna take the water with you? It's up to you. Got everything?
Can we, if we walk over there, can we come in the back way by the urgent care so I don't have to go like the front of the clinic?
When we walk over there, you wanna keep on the back way?
It's 9:33 hours. They're going to medical. This is Special Agent Chaff. I'm going to be terminating the video recording now. 9:33 hours, June 19th, 2020.